All right, let's get into that conversation, and then we ask the question, as a small business, why insurance? You might have an answer and say, well, I don't need it. But then if you look at the products that are carried within insurance, then indeed you might listen. Now, this is the introduction. But even as penetration of the insurance sector within the country is still below the single-digit mark, insurance for every small business really looking to make a mark in the Kenyan economy is quite important. You'll be told you can't make a step then as a small business if you're not taking care or safeguarding those gains that you are making. And this episode to make us understand the importance of that insurance by also looking at the particulars in terms of those insurance products that they have for you. We are joined by Tabitha Kihanya, who's the who is the GM, that's the General Manager, Alternative Channels at CIC Group. Tabitha, how are you doing?
Thank you very much, Simba. I'm doing very well this morning.
Happy to have you around.
Thank you.
I usually start conversations for the insurance sector like this. Every chance I get as a business journalist is a chance to educate people on the importance of insurance, because we look at those numbers that we're talking about. We've been stuck about 3% for quite a long time now without actually breaking into the double-digit figure. Okay, so let's educate somebody. As a small business, what is the need of having insurance?
Thank you very much, Simba. Maybe I can start by introducing myself so that the audience can know who I am.
Yes.
My name is Tabitha Kihanya. Like you've said, I'm the General Manager in charge of Alternative Channels at CIC.
Yes.
CIC is household name when it comes to insurance because it's a local company and it's a brand that many people relate with. What I do at CIC, to just break down the alternative channels, is basically to distribute insurance through the other channels other than brokers and agents, because those are the old channels of distributing insurance.
Yes.
If you meet anybody today, they'll tell you, oh, I have a broker, I have an agent. But of late, we have had other channels. And the main one is banks.
Yes.
You have probably come across
bank
assurance.
Yes.
We have we have micro lending institutions which have come on board as well. We have digital insurance through InsurTechs. So we have all those alternative channels that have come into the insurance sector, and that is what I take care of at CIC.
Fantastic.
So coming to your question about breaking down the insurance and why the penetration is still at 3%, which arguably is still a good rate in Africa.
Would you say so?
Yes.
The economies that we're fighting, like South Africa and all that, they're making advances that we're not making.
Yes.
And you wonder, even with our GDP, why are we still stuck at 3%?
We're still stuck at 3% because we generally stuck in the old channels, and business shifts from one company to the other without creating new business, without baking a bigger cake.
Yes.
And that's why introduction of the alternative channels is very important, and SME comes into the equation because SMEs are people who are entrepreneurs.
Yes.
They are self-made. They don't rely on the government or on the institutions. These are entrepreneurs who wake up and start a business. That is the thing that will bake a bigger cake for us.
Yes.
And I'm glad we're having this conversation today because we'll be able to educate them and tell them how they can be key in this industry.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
From where you sit on that particular area for alternative channels of then making sure that insurance penetrates, what would you say is working out for you? Because I will tell you, Tabitha, you've been blamed in your particular industry for not learning enough. That you are stuck with brokers, you are stuck with the old way of doing things up to COVID. when you are forced to, okay, let's rethink then and see how we can get to these people without necessarily having to see them. What is working for you? What channel is working for you? Is bank assurance working for you? How digital enough are you? Because that is what everybody's talking about.
Simba, brokers are still very, very important as a channel of distribution.
Yes.
Because, the brokers represent the client. So they come up with solutions for the client. The agent, on the other hand, represents the insurance company. So you cannot undermine the role of brokers and agents. But we are saying we need more channels. We need this gospel to go through more channels than just the agents and the brokers. So bank assurance is working because you cannot talk about SME without talking about the banks. You agree with me?
That's true.
Yes.
Yes.
Even if
But is that the case scenario when it comes to our local MSME? Some of them would rather not go to the bank.
We find most of them in the bank.
Yes.
Actually, if you look at even when the world wants to think about SMEs and they want to fund these SMEs or they want to give them credit guarantees, how do they get to them? They get to them through banks and microfinance institutions.
Yes.
So any SME needs financing. And insurance is important to them because it makes them more credit worthy. Because I want to think about insurance as a security, as additional security. Because I come to you, Simba, you're the insurance company, or you are the bank. You want to give me some money to buy a truck. I only have that one truck. Then what happens if that truck gets an accident and it's a write-off? How will I pay you back? You get it? So if I get insurance, then the bank is more comfortable that even if anything happens to that truck, there is someone who is behind it and will be able to make good the payment to me as a bank. And then I will lend another truck to the SME, and their business will be uninterrupted. So those are the conversations that we are having with the SME sector, and we are telling them that think about insurance as security, as that padlock that you put on your door every morning or every night, or that watchman at your gate, or that Maasai that is guarding your business. That is the same way we should look at insurance. Yes.
I've got two questions for you, and this question is not essentially for me. Somebody asked me this question this morning, and they told me, well, you got to ask about that as well. Your title specifically, General Manager, Alternative Channels, it sounds a new title within the insurance industry. And then attach that response, Tabitha, to this. Since you took over as the supervisor of that particular docket, would you say that adoption then of insurance from individuals, and most particularly now small businesses, is increased in the company?
Yes, definitely. It's increased. When we started off, we can put it at around 10 years ago.
Yes.
We had agents and brokers dominating the insurance market. But we can see that bank assurance is taking this space. And it used to be considered an alternative distribution channel. Actually, it was in most companies, it was at you can call it at a strategic stage. We are growing this channel because it is new, it is the new kid on the block and all that. But right now, especially in my company, which is CIC, it is now lumped together with all the other distribution channels. It is no longer the new kid on the block. It is now standing by itself and claiming this space and saying, this is a space we want to look into. And also the regulator, who is IRA, has come in and said, this bank assurance sector should now be looked at with more scrutiny. They should be more, they should be more regulated, because it is now showing up. That means that it is a force to reckon with right now. And my aim is to be able to bring these SMEs that are only reached by the banks through these alternative distribution channels, through the mobile phones, just like what the banks have done. They have really increased the bankable population from what we used to know in the 80s when we were growing up. You know, you couldn't just wake up and walk into a bank. But right now, you have your bank on your mobile phone, including even a kabambe.
Yes.
You can access banking services there, you know, through M-Pesa, through all those other channels that are there. So you can see from that the SME is a key driver in this conversation that we are having.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Tabitha, I would like us to take a short break, but once we come back then, within CIC, since we're speaking to these MSMEs, questions that you would run into is, which is that product that you have that is a must-have for a small business that wants to come up? Once we come back from this break, you're still watching Like a Business. My name is Simba Kiage. We are still with Tabitha as we look at what products then that you actually need as a small business, if indeed this conversation for insurance adoption for the MSMEs is going to make sense. Tabitha, let's jump into that then. This particular product at CIC, how many are they? At the top of your head, does a small business would look at it and say, indeed I need that product because of ABCD?
Simba, allow me to not start from the product side,
yes,
rather from the need side.
That's it.
Because the products are there, and there are many there. You know, if I start listing them, you'll tell me, you know, stop, we don't have time.
Yes.
So I want to look at it from the need of this SME that I'm talking about.
Yes.
Because like I said, the SME is this entrepreneur. So it could be in any sector. It could be in, it could be a hardware, it could be a school, it could be a farm. You know, all those are SMEs. So the needs of the farm, the needs of the hardware, the needs of a small trader at Gikomba could be totally different.
Yes.
So it is driven by the need of this particular SME. So if I start, if I was to have a conversation with you, I would ask you as a business person, what are your biggest fears? Probably you would tell me, you know, the other day my truck was carrying things from one shop to deliver to a client, and then it was vandalized on the way. So I would tell you, this is the product that you need. Or you'll tell me, you know, I had stored my clothes in a warehouse and then there was a flood. I would now tell you, this is the product that you need. So we want to start from the need to the product that responds to that,
yes,
the risk that you're facing as a business.
Yes.
The key products, of course, in insurance, like I've mentioned, is fire and perils. So if you've stored your goods somewhere, there is a fire, for example, then you're definitely going to benefit from a fire and perils product. If your shop is vandalized at night or even during the day, forceful entry and exit, we would give you a burglary product. If it is transit of goods from the shop to the customer or from the warehouse to the shop, there'll be goods in transit. SMEs are people who also employ others. You'll find 5 staff, 10 staff members, from drivers to shop attendants to, you know, all sort of employees. Would give them a work injury benefit, which is actually compulsory cover, just like your third-party motor insurance. So we would give you that. If you're dealing with high-valued items like phones and other things that can be stolen quickly, you want to take a fidelity guarantee for your stuff. You know, someone can have access,
yes,
to the shop and pick a few items. You know, it, like I said, it is a need-based.
Yes.
You'll come and tell me, these are your fears. Then I'll say, don't worry about it. I have the solution. I have the security for that.
Yes.
Then I will tell you, this is how we are going to arrange it.
Pretty much.
So I wouldn't want to bog
So much on the product.
yes, but rather than the need. And this is the
MSME.
conversation,
yes,
that you started with, to
yes,
tell the SMEs that you actually need insurance.
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty much. someone also asked this question then. Sometimes I walk out of insurance companies because then I do not think that their products are customizable to my particular need. How customizable are you at TIC should a smaller business approach you today?
We are very customized. You should send that person to CIC.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
By the way, I have the numbers. So
You should. You should.
Yes.
Because we are a local company.
Yes.
You know, we know the local problems. You know, so we are able to tell, will this respond to the local problems that we have?
Oh, yeah.
We make decisions locally. It is a 100% locally owned company. Our directors are here. Our board is here. We don't need to call overseas for decisions or anything. So how much more customized can that be when you can just walk into the office and have your needs met? And
Yes.
we can relate. We can relate. We can know, oh, there was this incidence. There is this increase in this drought, or this problem that is facing this particular business.
Yes.
So we now customize the products into fitting to that need.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's jump a little bit into how we got out of 2020 up to where we are now. Majority of businesses are also very tech savvy, would you say, because we stress so much on the digital economy, and that's when we took off. I don't know how to place this question. How were you before COVID on the digital side of things at CIC, and where are you now? Would you say you made a leap from 2020 to date?
We made a very, very big leap.
Yes.
You know, this digital talk was always there.
Within CIC?
Within CIC and
Despite
within the world
the general
at large.
conversation that insurance companies were still stuck in the old days.
Yes. But with COVID, it was a very stressful period for everyone. But sometimes they say necessity is the mother of invention. Now you just have to do it. So we had to fast track our digital strategy. We came up with customer portals where you could just log in and buy your insurance end to end, make a payment, and receive your policy documents in your email address. And that was coupled up with also the introduction of the digital motor certificates, because motor insurance is what most people can relate with.
Yes.
We went a further step and did service provider portals. Service providers for insurance companies include garages, loss adjusters, hospitals in case of medical insurance. So we introduced the service provider portals where we can speak to them through the portal. We can submit claims to them. They can respond to us. That's improving TATs and service delivery to the final client.
Yes.
We didn't stop there. We went ahead to even increase our I don't want to use the technical terms. Our investment arm also,
yes.
where you can get in. Our investment company is called CIC Asset Management, where you can invest your money little by little as 1,000 shillings. You can put it in there for a rainy day, and you can even withdraw it if you need it.
Yes.
We did that portal. You can check your balance. You can top up. You can do everything, literally. We went ahead and even increased now the hospitals. You could, not hospitals, for medical insurance. You can open up, check up your benefits. You're covered for this, you're covered for this, you're covered for this. Then it also tells you, this is the limit you have. If you have a limit of 500,000, for example, you used 50,000, it tells you, this is your balance.
Yes.
And it can also tell you, these are the providers you can go to. Maybe if you find yourself up country, you don't know the hospitals that you can visit, it can tell you, these are the providers in our panel, you
Yes.
can just walk in there with your
Yes.
card. So we really did a lot. Of course, on top of being able to hold meetings virtually, to be able to work from home and service our clients without a hitch.
Pretty much.
Yes.
So as we get closer to the end of this conversation, CIC Insurance, could you give me your outlook for 2022? And I want you to factor in the general election and the current inflation that is affecting the economy worldwide.
So the outlook for CIC in 2022 is stable. It has been rated by global rating agents. So we are a stable company despite all the challenges that the world is facing. We are still stable. This is because in the past we have built resilience, and even when our actuaries, our financial experts are doing the reserving, pricing and everything, they take cognizance of the fact that things can change at any time.
Yes.
So we have built enough reserves over time to take us through any uncertainties, because we are in the business of risk. So even us as a company, we have to manage our own risk in the background. So I can say that CIC is stable, and those are not my words.
Yes.
Those are the words of global rating agencies.
Yes. Would you say that the premiums right now, as we're approaching the general election, have you noted any increase in the take-up premiums?
Our premium have increased this year compared to last year.
Yes.
There is definitely an increase. Industry-wise, I'm not at liberty to speak to the specifics because our financials are still not out there.
Yes.
But you can be rest assured that the business is doing much better.
Yes.
Even going with the 2021 results, you saw it.
Yes.
You were a media personality.
Yes.
We did very well, and part of that is still going on into this year. We are not we're not scared of this period. It will be a short period, and we will get back to business.
Now, 15 seconds, if you may, as we clear.
Sorry?
15 seconds.
Okay.
If you look at the general insurance industry in the country, is there a time when we're going to say we are breaking into the double-digit figure, or we're still a way back?
Most definitely, Simba. That is why we are here.
Yes.
To have this conversation with the common mwananchi out there, to tell them that insurance is not this this animal out there that you don't understand and you just take it so that you're not stopped by the cops on the road. We are having this conversation to tell them that yes, insurance is something that you need. You actually need it, and it is good for you. Once we have that conversation, then we will have the growth in the industry. If we don't have it, then people will just not know anything about it. So my message to someone out there is that if you lock your door at night when you sleep, then you need to take insurance.
Pretty much.
Yes.
If you didn't learn, then we'll call her back again, so we can put you here in the studio so we could do a town hall of a Q&A of exactly how you as a small business would then benefit from any insurance product. This, we were speaking to Tabitha Kihanya, who's the General Manager, Alternative Channels at CIC. Have you learned? If you have, and look up TV across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba Kiage. Tabitha, thank you very much for taking your time.
Thank you so much, Simba, for inviting me, and call me back. We'll have this conversation another time.
Definitely.
Yes.
All right, that's it for Liquor Business at this hour.